My friends, let me tell you something that will change your life if you let it sink in. For too long, too many of us live with this constant, invisible weight on our shoulders, the weight of people's opinions, the weight of judgment. The whispers, the looks, the unspoken rules about who you should be, how you should act, what path you should take. But here's the truth that will set you free. Other people's judgment is not your truth. Take a moment and let that land. Other people's judgment is not your truth. You see, people will always have something to say. Always. You could do everything right, follow every rule, make yourself small, play safe, and still someone, somewhere will find fault with you. Why? Because their judgment has nothing to do with you, and everything to do with them. When I was younger, I used to twist myself into knots, trying to be who people expected me to be. I thought if I could just please them, if I could just win their approval, then I'd finally feel worthy. But what I discovered, through tears, through mistakes, through moments of surrender, is that the only approval you will ever need is your own. Freedom begins the moment you stop chasing the applause, the validation, the likes, the nods of approval. Freedom begins when you say, I am enough as I am. I am worthy as I am. I do not need to shrink to fit inside your idea of me. Let me ask you this. Who are you without the voices of judgment in your head? Without the fear of rejection, without the need for everyone to like you? That person, the one who laughs without checking who's watching, the one who dreams without apology, the one who walks in their own truth. That person is your authentic self. Other people's judgment is not your truth. That is one of the most liberating realizations you can ever have in your life. Think about it. Every person you meet carries their own set of experiences, beliefs, fears, and insecurities. When they judge you, when they criticize you, when they tell you who they think you should be, they're not actually speaking about you. They are projecting their own limitations, their own worldview, their own story. Their judgment is a reflection of where they are, not who you are. Yet so many of us spend our lives weighed down by the fear of being judged. We walk into a room and immediately wonder what people are thinking about us. We hesitate to share our dreams because we are afraid someone might laugh. We hold back our true selves because we worry about rejection or disapproval. But here's the truth. You could do everything perfectly, live by everyone else's rules, try to please every single person around you, and still someone will find fault. Why? Because their opinion was never about you in the first place. When you begin to understand this, something powerful shifts inside you. You start to see that people's judgments are like passing clouds. They appear, they drift across the sky. They might even cast a shadow for a moment, but they do not alter the sun that is shining within you. That sun, your essence, your worth, your truth, remains constant. And when you stop giving judgment the power to define you, you reclaim that inner light. You realize that your life does not need to bend under the weight of other people's expectations. So the next time you feel judged, pause and remind yourself, this is not about me. This is about them. Don't carry their opinions as if they were your identity. Instead, return to your own center, your own knowing, your own truth. Stand firmly in who you are, because that is where your freedom lies. The moment you stop letting judgment dictate your choices, you begin to live a life that is fully your own. And that life, the one rooted in authenticity and self-trust, is a life of real joy and liberation. The only approval you truly need is your own. For so many of us, this lesson takes years to learn, because from the time we are children, we are taught to seek approval. We want our parents to be proud, our teachers to validate us, our friends to accept us. That desire doesn't magically disappear when we grow older. It follows us into our careers, our relationships, our social lives. We measure our worth through the lens of someone else's opinion, waiting for that pat on the back, that applause, that smile of acceptance to tell us we are enough. But the truth is, living for approval is a trap that keeps you small. It ties your happiness to something outside of yourself, something you can't ever fully control. Think about it. Approval from others is fleeting. One moment you have it, and the next it can vanish. People's moods change, their expectations shift, and suddenly the thing that made them praise you yesterday may not be enough today. If you base your sense of worth on that approval, you'll spend your life chasing something that can never satisfy you for long. But when you begin to shift your focus inward, when you realize that your own approval, your own self-respect, your own belief in yourself is what truly matters, you step into a power that cannot be taken away. Approving of yourself doesn't mean you stop growing or striving to do better. It means you stop criticizing your very being. It means you look in the mirror and say, I am enough right now, in this moment, as I am. It means you trust your inner voice more than the noise of the crowd. And when you root yourself in that kind of self-acceptance, you make decisions not out of fear of rejection, but out of alignment with your values, your purpose, your truth. The freedom that comes from this is extraordinary. Imagine pursuing your dreams not because you hope others will cheer you on, but because they are your dreams, because they set your soul on fire. Imagine loving yourself so deeply that external opinions become just that. Opinions, not verdicts on your worth. That is what it means to live with your own approval. That is the foundation of lasting confidence, unshakable peace, and real freedom. Your authentic self is your power. Deep down, you already know this, but the world has a way of making you forget. From the time we are young, we learn to put on masks. We learn how to act in certain situations, how to speak in ways that will please others, how to hide the parts of ourselves that might not be accepted. And little by little, those masks become so familiar that we start to confuse them with who we really are. But your authentic self, that part of you that laughs freely, dreams boldly, feels deeply, that is the most powerful version of you. That is the you the world truly needs. When you live authentically, you stop trying to perform for others. You stop seeking to fit into someone else's definition of success or happiness. You begin to honor your own voice, your own desires, your own truth. And something amazing happens when you do this. Life feels lighter. You no longer feel like you're fighting against yourself. Instead, there's an alignment, a peace, a sense of flow that comes when your actions match your heart. That alignment is what people sense as authenticity, and it's magnetic. People are drawn to it because it's rare, because it's real, because it's courageous. But being authentic is not always easy. It takes courage to stand up and say, this is who I am, especially when it doesn't match the expectations of those around you. It takes courage to walk a path that others may not understand, to speak truths that may not be popular, to live in a way that may not please everyone. Yet the cost of hiding is far greater. When you deny your authentic self, you silence your own voice. You bury your own gifts. You dim your own light, and the world misses out on the fullness of who you were meant to be. Your authentic self is your power, because no one else can replicate it. There is no competition when you are being fully you. Your voice, your story, your perspective, your way of being. It is completely unique. And that uniqueness is your greatest strength. When you embrace it, you step into a kind of freedom and confidence that cannot be shaken by judgment, criticism, or rejection. That is the magic of authenticity. It unlocks your true power, and it allows you to live a life that feels not only successful, but meaningful and alive. Freedom comes from releasing judgment. Think about how much of our lives we spend trying to manage what other people might think of us. We choose our clothes, our words, our actions, even our dreams, based on whether they will be accepted or criticized. And in doing so, put ourselves in a cage made of invisible bars. That cage is built from fear of rejection, fear of disapproval, fear of standing out. But here's the truth. The door to that cage has been open all along. The moment you stop allowing other people's opinions to define you, you step out into freedom. Releasing judgment doesn't mean pretending it doesn't exist. People will always have opinions. They will talk, they will compare, they will criticize, because that's human nature. But their judgment only has power when you give it power. It only weighs you down when you choose to carry it. Imagine someone handing you a heavy bag filled with stones, each stone representing a criticism or a negative opinion. You can take it and carry it everywhere you go, or you can set it down and keep walking. Freedom is the choice to set it down. When you release judgment, you begin to make decisions from a place of courage rather than fear. You start asking yourself, what do I want? What feels true for me? Instead of, what will they think? And with every decision rooted in authenticity, your life becomes lighter, brighter, and more aligned with who you really are. You stop wasting energy trying to fit into molds that were never meant for you, and you redirect that energy into creating, growing, and living fully. The beauty of releasing judgment is that it doesn't just free you from others, it also frees others from you. When you no longer cling to judgment, you become more compassionate, more open, more accepting of people as they are. You realize that everyone is fighting their own battles, everyone is carrying their own fears, and judgment serves no one. Freedom, then, is not the absence of judgment in the world, but the absence of its power over you. And once you taste that freedom, once you live in that wide, open space of courage and self-acceptance, you'll never want to go back. You'll understand that your life was never meant to be lived under the weight of someone else's opinion. It was meant to be lived in the fullness of your own truth.